everybody. It's Sports Guy Ron. I'm here with my Week 4 preview and picks and recap of Thursday Night Football. We're getting started on the week with a winning record of 30-16. Against the spread, it's pretty poor. It's 18-27-1. It's been a hard year. We'll see how it goes from here. Okay, so first we have a 9:30 a.m. game. It's in Dublin, Ireland. We have the Minnesota Vikings 2-1. They're favored by 2.5 points against Pittsburgh, also 2-1. I have picked Minnesota to win and to cover. For Pittsburgh, Alex Highsmith is out. The reason I'm picking Minnesota for most part is Pittsburgh's defense. They've been giving up a lot of big chunk plays. I think by one measure they've given up the most, like 20-plus yard catches, 12-yard runs, something to that effect, but put together. So that's not good for their defense. Jordan Addison, he's back for Minnesota also. That's going to help. And Minnesota's defense is ending up the third fewest passing yards. So Jaylen Warren's questionable, although he is supposed to play. They might not be able to run the ball and have trouble passing, especially with Harrison Smith back for Minnesota. In the next game, we have the New Orleans Saints 0-3 at the Buffalo Bills 3-0. The Buffalo Bills favored by 14.5. I've seen it as high as 16 in some places. I'm picking Buffalo to win and to cover even with the 14.5. I can't take New Orleans right now. Buffalo has 8 straight games without committing a turnover. They're first in offensive yards per game. Those two stats together, Spencer Rattler's not good at winning on the road, so I'm taking Buffalo to win and to cover. In the next game, I've got Tennessee taking on Houston. Tennessee is 0-3. They're at Houston, also in 3. Houston is a 7-point favorite. That's a lot of points for an 0-3 team. They can't score, but I'm taking Houston to win and to cover. Why am I doing that? Well, Houston's defense is third in points allowed. They're tied for fourth in sacks of the opposing quarterbacks. Tennessee's offense, they're second to last, 31st in yards gained. Houston's offense has not scored 20 points, but I'm saying Tennessee is going to have a hard time getting to 10. I think Houston can get to 17 and cover, maybe 17-7. Maybe they hit 20 against Tennessee, making 20-10, something like that. It's hard to take Tennessee, a rookie quarterback, on the road, so I'm taking Houston. In the next game, we have the 1-2 Cleveland Browns coming up off the upset of Green Bay in Detroit against the Lions. They're 2-1. The Lions are favored by 10 points. That's quite a bit against Cleveland's defense. Cleveland's defense is giving up the fewest yards allowed. The Detroit offense, second in points. Is that going to matter if Detroit's short rest? They did play Monday night in a physical game against Baltimore, even though they dominated that game. I'm going to take Detroit to win. I really debated on taking Cleveland to cover, but I'm going to take Detroit to cover. Cleveland's defense, as great as it is, especially at home, sometimes against a really good offense, it doesn't travel. So I'm going to take Detroit to cover. In the next game, we have Washington. They're 2-1. They are at Atlanta, 1-2. Atlanta is favored by 2.5 points. We've got Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, both out, which means Marcus Mariota starts again. The question is, can Atlanta come back from embarrassing defeat? They lost 30-0 to Carolina. I'm thinking that Washington, with Daniels and McLaurin out, Atlanta's going to play tough against the run, and Washington, they're going to be physical. I think this is a low-scoring game. I'm going to take Atlanta to win and to cover. In one of the two games of the week, we have the Philadelphia Eagles 3-0. They are favored by 3.5 points at undefeated Tampa Bay 3-0. Philadelphia, they are 1-3 versus Tampa Bay under Nick Sirianni. And they flew out Friday, which is a day early for them, to acclimate to the heat and the humidity. It is supposed to be 90 degrees. It's supposed to be humid. I don't know how much one more day is going to matter, but we'll see. Tampa Bay, Mike Evans is out with his hamstring. They are expected to get Tristan Wirfs back. I'm taking Philadelphia to win against the grain of history lately. I think Jalen Hurts is 1-4, along with Sirianni being 1-3. I am taking Tampa Bay to keep it under, more like a field goal or a 1 or 2 point game. I'm taking Tampa Bay to cover against the spread, even though that's a really tight margin I'm trying to squeeze there. Baker has been hard to defeat. He has 3 comeback wins. I'm gonna say he comes up just short, but he keeps it close. Okay, in the next game we have the Carolina Panthers. They are 1-2. They are at the also 1-2 New England Patriots. New England's favored by 5.5. I'm going to take New England to win and to cover. It's kind of hard for me to figure after Carolina won 30-0 last week, they're going to go on the road and not regress. But we'll see. For Carolina, Teteroda, McMillan, and Chuba Hubbard are both questionable, but they're both expected to go. Bryce Young, he's 1-14 as a starter on the road. That's why I'm taking New England. New England, if they don't turn the ball over 5 times like they did against Pittsburgh, I think they're gonna defeat Carolina. The next game we have the LA Chargers. They're 3-0. They are 6-point favorites at the New York Giants, 0-3. I'm taking LA to win and to cover. This is going to be Jackson Dart's first start replacing Russell Wilson. Graham Gano's out, and they got some Northern Ireland kicker, McAtaney, to replace him. So unproven kicker, unproven quarterback. Both rookies starting in their first game against an undefeated team. They did sign Younghoe Koo on Thursday, but apparently this kid beat out Koo in the competition to be elevated from the practice squad. I don't know. I'm just taking LA. In the 4 o'clock games, the first one up is Jacksonville. They are 2-1 at San Francisco, 3-0. San Francisco is a 3.5 point favorite. I'm taking San Francisco to win and to cover. Nick Bosa is out for the year. He tore his ACL. Looks like Brock Purdy's going to be back. But his replacement, Mac Jones, has a knee. He's questionable to back him up. You've got Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings, both questionable. They're both all three 50-50. They're not, and no one's saying that they're likely to go or anything, so it might be game time decisions on those. Even with all that, they still have Christian McCaffrey, who's had 50 rushing yards and 50 receiving yards in all 3 games this year. I'm thinking that him and they'll piece it together, and I'm just not convinced that Jacksonville can travel. Their receivers are all dropping balls. The running game's been going good. I don't know if they can run it that well against San Francisco and Fred Warner. So I'm going to take San Francisco. In another large game this week, maybe the third best game, although it could be the best game, depending on if Indianapolis is for real or not. We have Indianapolis 3-0. They are at the Rams 2-1. The Rams are favored by 3.5. I'm taking LA to win and to cover. I'm higher on Indianapolis than a lot of people going into the season. So far, so good. This is a game I think they'd lose. You have Jonathan Taylor, who's leading the league in rushing. But the key matchup of the game is the Rams defense, especially their front 7. They have 12 sacks. That's tied for first in the league. versus a good Colts offensive line. Whoever wins that battle likely wins the game. I'm thinking at home with Indianapolis coming across the country, playing at 4 o'clock. I'm going to say that the Rams win and cover. In the next game, we got the Chicago Bears coming off a victory last week at the Las Vegas Raiders. Las Vegas is favored by 1. I'm taking Las Vegas to win and to cover. You got to give it up to Caleb Williams. He was the player of the week. He's only got 1 road win, though, in his career. So that's something to keep in mind. I know the team hasn't been very good, but it hasn't been that bad for him to only win 1 road game. He's been playing very well, though. In his last 14 starts, 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So we'll see. Las Vegas, I just think, can they get Ashton Jeanty going? They picked him at number 6 for a reason. They expect that guy to be top-notch and really be putting up numbers for him, but he hasn't so far. Can they get him going against Chicago's defense? I'm thinking they'll get him going enough to win the game. Okay, and then the game of the week, probably, we have the Baltimore Ravens, 1-2, surprisingly, at the also surprising Kansas City Chiefs, 1-2. Baltimore is favored on the road at the Super Bowl loser last year by 2.5 points. I'm taking Baltimore to win and to cover. It looks like Xavier Worthy is possible to play and likely will play. Chris Jones was a late addition to the injury report, and it was marked as personal. There was no designation of whether he was probable, questionable, doubtful. So it's clearly unknown whether he's going to be able to play or not at this time. And we got the Ravens 1-5 against Patrick Mahomes. All that leans Kansas City, other than the Chris Jones information. But I'm taking Baltimore. I have a hard time thinking that Kansas City is going to be able to score enough, even though Baltimore's defense has been underwhelming so far. In the next game, it's Green Bay. They are 2-1. They are 6.5-point favorites at Dallas. I'm taking Green Bay to win and to cover. Can Green Bay get a win on the road? They lost at Cleveland, a disappointing loss for them last week. We got the real story of the game, Micah Parsons, going back to a trip to Big D. You know he's going to want to wreak havoc on that offense. No CeeDee Lamb in the lineup. He's really going to want to make his mark. The reason I'm taking Green Bay, yeah, their offense didn't travel well to Cleveland, but Dallas's defense is nowhere near what Cleveland's defense is at home, and I'm going to take Green Bay. In the first of the Monday night games, we have the New York Jets 0-3. They're at the Miami Dolphins, also 0-3. Miami's favored by 2.5. I'm taking them to win and to cover against my better judgment because the Jets have been played pretty frisky the first 3 weeks, even though they're 0-3. They really gave Tampa a battle. They really gave Pittsburgh a battle. They really could have won both of those games. But Justin Fields is going to be back to start. Miami is getting Darren Waller to come back and make his debut for them. I don't really have a good reason except that they're home to pick Miami, and that's why I'm picking them. It's really nothing more profound than that. In the last game, the second Monday night game, we have the Cincinnati Bengals 2-1 traveling to the Denver Broncos 1-2. Denver's favored by 7.5. I'm taking Denver to win, but I'm taking Cincinnati to cover. That 7.5 is a lot of points. Although, shockingly, even with Joe Burrow out, Cincinnati's last in yards game this year on offense. They didn't gain many yards with Burrow either. I don't know if Zach Taylor needs to get that fixed. I don't know what's going on there. Key matchup is Denver's defense. They are tied for first in sacks with 12. They are going against a shaky Cincy line. That's probably why the spread is so high. I'm thinking Cincinnati, after that embarrassing loss to Minnesota last week, makes enough plays to at least keep it close. I was 9-7 last week, 4-11 versus the spread. Hopefully we can do better this week. We did get off to a good start. Seattle defeated Arizona 23-20 in a battle of 2-1 teams. Seattle's now 3-1. Arizona's 2-2. I did win the win and against the spread. Jason Myers hit a 52-yard field goal at the buzzer to win it. That was a key theme in the last week. Seattle got up 20-6. Arizona did score 2 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes to tie it up. However, Seattle drove it down the field, kicked the field goal to win, and they've put themselves up to towards the top of the division. I hope you like this preview. Hopefully we do better on the picks this week. If you like this video, please give it a like. Maybe subscribe to my channel. Comment on the video. What do you guys think? Which pick do you think is most wrong? Give me a line. See what's going on. I appreciate you listening and watching. I'll talk to you later.